Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. It is always a blessing. Man, we got quite the interesting morning show for you guys today. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in DC right now. And honestly, I'm going to be real. I'm a little worried. Yeah, I'm a little worried. We gonna see what's gonna happen, okay? And I'm telling you right now, ish might hit the fan today. And we'll discuss that in a little bit, okay? Because there's gonna be a press conference here in just a few minutes, all right? And we have excuse me. And we have got to get into this conversation as soon as possible. So, again, please do me a favor. If you're watching on any of these channels, Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, please make sure you hit that reaction button. Of course, follow me on all those platforms, please and thank you. All right? I am live right now on multiple platforms. If you are watching on the TikTok, we are going to be watching the press conference. You'll be able to see it, physically see it on the YT. So go over to YT if you want to, or I'll just give you live updates as he speaks, okay? Of course, don't forget to hit that follow button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, please and thank you. All right, subscribe. Go to my second channel and my third channel. The second channel is called The Pascal Show Clips. Go over to my third channel, Pascal Raw. Subscribe over there as well. That would be greatly appreciated. Hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it's random right now, at least for now, okay? Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, pascalmerch.com. Go check it out. All right, guys, sorry. We got to get straight into this. I'm kind of a little bit late. I was going to be on, about 13 minutes ago, but I was busy, taking care of a few things. There's also another update before this press conference goes down. And as you guys can see there, just so you guys can see it, they are getting ready, okay? Trump is to address the nation about him federalizing Washington, DC. Now, this is a very, very big deal. A lot of y'all like, what's the big deal? Who cares? Like, not a lot. Some of y'all, okay, not a lot of y'all, but some of y'all like, and okay, good. It's good that they're getting rid of, they're cleaning up the streets and all that stuff. But the federalization of a city, like deploying troops into Washington, D.C., people are very concerned about that, because it could be a foreshadowing of something to come. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. Again, this could be a situation where we are looking at, well, this is what some people are saying, that this is dictatorship at its finest. We're just seeing him tip his toe in the pool of dictatorship to see how it goes. And then he's going to rock and roll from there. That's at least what is being said, or what the theory is right now. That's what the main concerns are. That's why I keep saying I'm a little concerned, because I have a feeling people are going to be feeling some type of way, especially after he speaks here in a little bit, any minute now. But real quick, before we go into the press conference, because he's not going to be on time, okay? So we got a few minutes. Here it is. He took to his Truth Social and he posted this. This is the thing that took everybody and made everybody concerned, okay? And is the reason why we're having this press conference today. Because yesterday he posted this. He said, we're having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. I'm going to make our Capitol safer and more beautiful than it ever was before. The homeless have to move out immediately, in all caps. We will give you places to stay, but far from the Capitol. So where's he going to be putting them, right? Where is he taking these people, the homeless? Is he just taking them off and putting them in camps or something like that? What's going on with this, right? Questions that I have. I think these are questions that a lot of us have, right? But he says, you will have places to stay, but it will be far from the Capitol. The criminals, you don't have to move out. That's funny. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. It's all going to happen very fast, just like the border. We went from millions pouring in to zero in the last few months. This will be easier. Be prepared. There will be no more Mr. Nice Guy. We want our capital back. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, you know for a fact, everybody named Mama is paying attention to this matter. Because again, some of y'all like, yeah, right, let's go, right? America. Some of y'all doing that. But others are going, wait a second. Because if he's federalizing this city, could he federalize other cities? What are the chances of this getting worse? Right? Now, I know what happened with Big Balls, and I'm going to be real. That's terrible. No one should be attacked in that kind of fashion, no matter what. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, who you are working for, whether you're working for the likes of someone like Biden or working for the likes of somebody like Trump. It doesn't matter. That kind of pain, that kind of violence that was inflicted upon him was not great. And yes, there has been a lot of violence and a lot of crime in multiple cities. It's not just in DC. But federalizing the city, it's something interesting. It's something to keep an eye on. It's something to ask some questions about for show, right? Now, you may agree with this move. You may not agree with this move. I leave that question up to you guys. Are you for it? Are you not for it? Do you think big thumbs up? Do you think hell to the no? What do you think? Because again, this is our country. Okay, let's not forget that. This is our country. We have the right to make our own decisions and think for ourselves independently. Be adults, right? In the chat. Be adults. But like I said, it gives me great pause and it gets me a little concerned. And I don't mean that in a, boo Trump boo. I'm just saying, what could this mean in the future? If this is successful, remember, this is him tipping his toe into the pool, okay? If this is successful, you don't think he's going to do this to other cities? Think about all the blue states. Think about that for a second, guys. Take a minute. Think about all the blue states, all of them. You don't think he'd be able to go and deploy more troops in those particular blue cities or blue states? Think about it for a second. Think about it. If this is successful, you don't think he can copy and paste all over the place, especially in blue states that he doesn't care for? Imagine him taking the National Guard federalizing, let's just say, majority of California. Do you realize how diabolical that could possibly be? Not only just California, but any other blue state, any other area, any of these other areas, right? It could be bad. It could. It has a potential to be a disaster. That's all I'm saying. Okay. But then he went to social media again, his Truth Social again, just like a few minutes before him going and speaking, because he's going to be speaking any minute now, okay? As we are still keeping an eye on this. And don't worry, guys, I will give you updates live. I'll be talking to you guys in a little bit on TikTok to let you guys know what's going on, what he is saying and all that. So stick around, or you can hop over to my YouTube channel and check it out over there, okay? Where his face will be talking and doing his thing, all right? But nonetheless, he went over and he went to social media again, to his Truth Social again, just a few, about hour before this press conference. And he says this: Liberation Day in DC. We are taking our capital back. Now, I know some of y'all standing up, standing ovation, going, yes, Hercules, yes. But some are a little concerned about this. And here's the thing. I'm going to say this now. This is a very big deal, what he's doing right now, what he's going to announce. Because, okay, there's a couple questions I have. Let's go back to the main thing. Because now today, apparently today, August 11th, is his Liberation Day, okay? This is like, where's our Will Smith? Not the slapping Will Smith. We're talking about the nice Will Smith that makes this ish look good. Will Smith from Independence Day, where he at? And where's our Jeff Goldblum? Where's our Jeff Goldblum? Where's our Jeff Goldblum and our Will Smith when we need him right now? We need unity. You know what I'm saying? You got the Jewish guy, you got the black guy coming together, fighting the bad guys. You know what I'm saying? Uniting the world. You feel me? Not divide, not separate, but come together. Like butt cheeks, right? It's a damn shame. Well, we got to talk about this here really quick, okay? His first post about this news conference. First off, homeless don't normally have cell phones or access to social media or access to a doggone TV unless they're in a shelter, right? So how is the homeless supposed to know that they need to kick rocks or that they got an eviction notice from the highest landlord of them all, President Trump? How are they supposed to know to leave the city if they don't have any means of information, of receiving that information, meaning like a phone? I know some homeless do have phones, but not all of them. A lot of them are just living off the fat of the concrete land. They just living just to get by every single day, battling with their own demons or God knows what, right? How are they supposed to know? How are they supposed to know, guys? So I keep wondering where this might get really ugly. That's number one. That is going to look ugly because if he does what he says he's going to do, because he says right here, Liberation Day, right? Liberation Day in DC. You know what I mean? So this is going to be ugly because he says this is going to happen. It's going to happen immediately and it's going to happen fast. So what's going to happen when they are kicking out the homeless? And then the other part too is he says, we will give you places to stay, but far from the capital. Where, baby? Alligator Alcatraz? Where are you taking them? Where are they going to go? Respectfully, where are they going to go? So I got questions, y'all, as we still wait. Press conference has not happened. What did I say? I said he ain't gonna be on time. He ain't gonna be on time because I said he ain't gonna be on time. Okay? We talking about Trump, baby. He ain't on time. But it does make you wonder, where is he going to put these people, the homeless? Then on top of that, how are they supposed to know, baby? Come on, baby. How are they supposed to know? Okay? They don't know anything. So how are they going to know, baby? Let's keep it a bean. So I feel I'm nervous because because here's the thing. If they go, let's just talk about this for a second. Think about what happened with ICE in LA. There were massive protests, and I know that there was protests apparently over the last couple of days in LA about ICE. But imagine them doing this in DC, going in, raiding these places where the homeless are staying, and they're manhandling, they're grabbing these people, they're throwing them in the back of trucks, etc., back in the back of vans, etc., to get them out of the city. And the general public sees this. And the general public feels some type of way about how the homeless are actually being handled, manhandled, treated poorly, etc. You don't think phones are going to be out? You don't think people are going to be recording all of this stuff, showing what the federal, like what the National Guard is doing to these people? You don't think that there's going to be a reaction, a visceral reaction to a specific side that's going to have an issue with this? I'm just saying. You don't think there's going to be some sort of demonstration showing up after this? I'm just saying. There's going to be trouble. I feel it. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. But I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. Okay? I really, really hope I'm wrong. I'm just going to leave the press conference up for a second. But talk to me, guys. Talk to me. Seriously, talk to me, guys. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think this is just going to be a smooth sailing? Do you think this is going to be smooth, or do you think that this is going to be a big reaction from the court of public opinion? Because again, let me just say this again. It's going to be how they get them out. Remember that. It's going to be how they treat the homeless when they are escorting them out of DC. Remember that. Also, let me just also say this too. He said criminals. He said criminals, you don't have to leave. Don't worry. We gonna get your ass. We got you. Don't you worry about a thing. We have a place for you. It's called jail, right? We got a beautiful place for you. Don't worry. You can stay right where you're at. So again, it's not only just the homeless, it's also criminals. Okay? Criminals. Okay? Eminem. All right? Subliminal. Criminal. We talking about criminals. Do you realize that criminals is a very vast word that could mean so many different things? It can mean so many different things, especially if you squint your eye and you got dust coming in the left eye. Okay? You could look at that word criminal and go, oh, he didn't pay he's got overdue speeding tickets. He a criminal. I'm just saying. Think about that for a second. Think about it all. Think about it, love. Think about it. This could be very bad. So if he's successful with getting the homeless out of there and he's like, it's the best, most amazing thing we've ever done. It's the most amazing. It's amazing. We obliterated the homeless. It is absolutely amazing. Obliterated, completely obliterated. The best movement in the history of the world. Amazing, right? If he's successful with that, you don't think he's going to do that to other situations that he thinks is a nuisance? And let me use nuisance very lightly. Okay? I'm using it in very, very liberally. Okay? And I don't mean liberal for well, yeah, I did mean it. I meant it both ways. Yeah. Okay. I was being punny, high key, low key. But still, at the same time, think about this. This could be very bad. Okay? Okay, criminals. Go. my Trump impersonation is terrible. But at the same time, you get what I'm saying. So if he tries this out and it's successful, he might be like, what else could I do here? This is working. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let's go. Okay, okay. After we do the homeless, I bet they gone. Okay. I don't see Ray Ray outside on the gate, leaning on the gate no more. I don't see that dude anymore asking for change as we pull in. Okay, he gone. I bet. Okay, so he gone. So if he gone, then they all gone. You see that? Okay, dope. Okay, bet. So what about these what about these brown people? Can we get rid of some more brown people? Okay, because this is what he really sounds like when the doors are closed. He's like, yo, you feel me? Let's go. Hey, Melania, what's up, girl? Come here now. Now, let's talk about this real quick, all right? We got these criminals, but there's plenty of other criminals, you feel me? Let's get rid of all these criminals, you feel me? Okay? He gets straight thuggish, ruggish bound when the doors are closed. All right? But in all seriousness, I am kind of concerned. Okay? I am concerned. And it all depends on how they treat each and every single homeless person that they're taking. Hopefully they're not grabbing, but they're taking and moving to someplace else. But I'm going to tell you this too. I'm not okay. I'm going to say it. I'm not okay with them taking homeless people from their own place of comfort out of nowhere. How's that? I'm going to say it. Think about that for a second. As much as they say, oh, the homeless has no home, well, they actually do. In a way. I know that they don't have like a brick and mortar roof over the head, that kind of thing. I get that part. But I'm talking about people who are homeless that actually, they have those camps, right? They consider that place a home, a place where they can hang their hat, for lack of a better term, where they rest, where they eat, where they live. They live in DC for a specific reason, okay? Imagine you being uprooted out of nowhere from your own home. Now, I get it. You can sit here and go, oh, no, they homeless, so they don't have no home, right? But they do. They consider that concrete jungle, wherever they live in, they consider that their home. Sure, there's dreams of going into a better place and all of that, right? Finding a home, actually not being without home. But that's their love. That's their house. That's their home. So imagine somebody coming into your home, okay? You got federal agents busting through your door and just picking you up and throwing you into the back of a car, only for you to be put in some random place that you don't even know about. They consider these particular people who are homeless there, they consider DC their home. And now they're going to be ripped out from their home to a place they don't even know what it is. Which, by the way, I hope to God he explains or tells us exactly where he's taken these people. And then I want to know, how's the living conditions there? Yeah, now I feel like a dad taking their kid to college for the first time, right? What's the dorm look like? What's the living situation look like? What should they expect? Will there be running water? Will there actually be running water, a place to, a working latrine area, bathrooms, you got piping, etc.? Or is this going to be alligator Alcatraz all over again? Think about it. Wouldn't you want to know about that too? Where are they going to be taking these people? And where are they going? And then, like I said, if it's successful, what could this mean in the future? And I don't mean successful in a good way. Oh, no. Because I don't think it's right for them to just pick up all these people and scoop them up and just throw them somewhere else. If it's successful, what's going to happen? Hold on.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What did he say?
Everyone will love my second question today that I'm going to ask the president. You're going to love it. Everybody in there will love it. They'll applaud it.
Okay. So the podium is rising. So he's coming out soon. Okay. Just so you guys know, I'll try to give you guys some updates here on the TikTok. Obviously, you guys on the YT, on the tubes, you guys are going to be able to hear exactly what he's going to say. But if there's anything big breaking, I'll be breaking it down for you guys here. Okay. Talking to you. Okay. You guys won't be able to hear it because I'll be muting the mic. Just so you know, heads up, because I know some of y'all will be like, Pascal, you're talking, but we can't hear you. What are you saying? We can't hear Pascal audio. There's no audio. Don't worry. I'm talking to TikTok. Okay. Just giving them updates when he comes out. You know, as he says, we've completely obliterated homeless. I need a Nobel Peace Prize. This is gonna be interesting, guys. This is gonna be interesting. I will tell you what. This is going to be something to see. Okay, definitely something to see. But please do me a favor. Please. I know it sounds like I'm taking a poop while I'm talking. Completely obliterated. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Okay. Yeah, I need to work on it. We got him for 3 more years, 3.5 more years. So I got plenty of time to work on the voice. But anyway, do me a favor though, while we are waiting, because the podium kind of moved up, because he is a tall guy, right? So he's about to come out here very soon. And I'm sure he's going to break it all the way down, letting us know why the homeless need to go bye-bye. And then, of course, what's next? Because I feel like this is wave number 1. Homeless is wave number 1. Wave number 2 will be criminals. And that, like I said, could be any type of criminal. Okay. And if that's the case, that could be all kinds of criminals of all kinds. That could be very, very bad. And then what's the third wave? It's like Operation Homeless, and then Operation Criminals, which could be anybody. And then what's the third wave? I'm just curious. So don't forget to hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. That would be greatly appreciated. Crush that like button, dag nabbit. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, please, follow. And then, of course, I have TikTokers. I got a little like Rosa thing. If you want to gift me on that, that'd be really appreciated. Okay. No pressure, though. Okay. You're still beautiful. You're still amazing. Same to you guys. You guys are all amazing. Okay. So I appreciate the love and the support. But then, of course, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow, please, and thank you. All right. One day, these things will be in one spot together. I'm still trying to figure it out. All right. How to get the TikTok and the tubes, like the feed that I have online, you guys are able to see it at the same time. I'm still trying to figure that out. We're going to get into it. Okay. We're going to get into it. I promise. Okay. But nonetheless, this is insane. The classic one. Okay, thank you so much for the comment. Third wave. We tried to tell some of y'all it wasn't going to go after. It wasn't just going after the illegals. He's coming after everyone he deems undesirable or useless. For real. I see. That's the thing. That's the kind of that's the concern that I have as well. Okay? Like that's the one thing I'm concerned about too, right? Is that it's going to be like, you talk too much, you're getting thrown away. You say anything that doesn't, that opposes me, I'm taking you out. Because if you notice, let's be real. We know about Trump. He loves people that love him. if you have an opposing view, if you are blue, if you are a Democrat, if you vote blue, you're the devil. We already know that, though. And that's not a diss at Trump. That's a fact. We've heard that. Okay? That's not a diss at Trump. If it's a fact, it's a fact. It's not a diss. So I know that if it's like, with the whole Sydney Sweeney situation, they said my jeans are blah. That whole thing, right? He goes, oh, she voted Republican? Oh, then she the finest piece of I've ever seen, right? Didn't he do that? She the best, right? All because she votes red. See what I'm saying? I feel like we in the hood, right? And if you got the red bandana, you cool. But if you got the blue bandana, pop, 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 you know what I mean? It's crazy, right? It's crazy. But it is what it is, okay? It is what it is. And that's not a diss at Trump. That's just facts. Listen to him how he's been talking. Ever since the Epstein files, he's been going even more, okay? He's been going harder in the paint after the Epstein files situation. They do exist. They don't exist. They exist. Oh, they definitely do. But then now he's like, well, those damn Democrats, damn them all. It's all their fault. Really now. We're now here. We've graduated. We've come to this end of the road. That's unfortunate. That's really, really unfortunate. And now we're looking at let's not forget, we're looking at a 3-eye axis, whatever the hell it is, big thing flying through the solar system, allegedly. Going to be here now, I'm hearing, in just a couple months or a couple weeks. See, that's the thing. I'm hearing a couple weeks, a couple months. I don't know anymore, okay? But now everybody's waiting to have their encounter with the third kind or fourth kind or whatever the hell it is, right? So everyone's thinking that we're about to get aliens dropping down in our world. And whilst that is happening, we got Trump allegedly having a press conference to talk about how he's getting rid of all the homeless in Washington, D.C. with the help of federal troops. So federalizing D.C. And like I said, if it's successful, he might copy and paste this all over the country, guys. Okay? Yeah, we all got some semblance of Jesus. Okay? Whatever God or, whatever faith you have. Okay? We all got, God got us. But at the same time, man, we are living in some wild times. Okay? Now, I will say this. I got friends that live in D.C. Let's be real. I've heard not the greatest reviews on what's going on in D.C., that it's kind of dirty and bad. But at the same time, so is every city. It's a city. You're going to have homeless. You're going to have crime. You're going to have all that going on. Now, I'm not justifying that. It'd be nice to have cities where there's little to no crime, right? Everyone has a home, that kind of thing. But is this the pattern? Is this the approach that we need to do? Is this the right way? Is this the humane way to get this thing done? My question I leave to you. Is it? Or is it not? I leave that question up to you guys. Okay? Real talk. We live in some weird times, y'all. We're living in some wild, wild times. All right. So Trump still hasn't shown up yet. Just so you guys know. Obviously, you guys are seeing it on the some of y'all are watching on TV. Some of y'all are watching on your phones and your iPads and your Androids. Ugh. But it's okay. We still love you here, you Android users. We still love you. But he still has not shown up to the podium. It's 9:30 Central Standard Time. So it's 10:30 out there, and he still hasn't shown up. I knew this was going to happen. He's still trying to get information, but he already knows what's going on. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Man, sandwich. If Trump is gonna, Trump will be turning over to the aliens and be like, hey, we'll trade you. Take out all the brown and black people, and you take them back to wherever you all came from, and we'll take you guys. How about that? It's interesting because he already has a problem with aliens, so it'd be interesting how he treats these aliens. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. Be very interesting. Golly. But anyway, guys, how's your day going? Huh? As we wait, we still waiting for more for this situation. Allie just said this is a modern day Holocaust. Woo. Those are some words. Some will say that. Some will say that. What is he doing? Taking them to our modern day version of a ghetto, right? What's going on here, right? I don't know. Let's see. Let me see. He's rarely late for a presser. KLP on TikTok just said. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know his pattern. But I figured like something as big of a deal as this, he might, you know what I mean, take his time, because the world is watching this. We are all watching this. There are so many people that are tuned into this, wanting to see what the heck is going on, and why this happened or why this is happening. And I know that some of it has to do with what happened with Big Balls. Now, if you don't know what happened with Big Balls, apparently, and I don't have all the information on this, but I know that he was viciously attacked. And I think he was trying to stop a carjacking or some sort of crime. And he got viciously attacked. There's photos all over the internet for it. I'm not going to show it to you because they're pretty gruesome. But that got, and he's one of the people that works for the Doge. Okay, Big Balls. He goes by Big Balls. Anyway, this got Trump in his fifis. This upset Trump greatly. Okay, I don't know why his name is Big Balls. I don't know. I didn't create it. I'm not his friend. I don't know him from a can of paint. But that's what he goes by. He got attacked viciously. There's photos all over the internet with this, and it's bad. Okay? It's bad. Trump gets upset. He gets in his fifis, and he's like, we need to stop the criminals. We need to stop all this crime that's going on. Okay? And anyway, he got mad. He said, hey, we need to clean up. We need to clean this up. If the crime doesn't drop, if the craziness doesn't stop, I'm going to deploy federal troops into DC. That's what he first tweeted or posted on Truth Social, on his Truth Social social media account. And then it graduated to where it is now. Now it's F it. We're getting rid of the homeless, and then we're getting rid of all you criminals, right? So again, how this kid, and yeah, you're right, Terry Lynn, okay? He's a young kid too. He's young. He got attacked, and it wasn't great. That got Trump upset. And so now this is where he's been on this trajectory. And here's the other thing too. When we've been covering this Epstein file stuff, which we are still, covering that. So make sure you're following, make sure you are following, make sure you're subscribing. But one thing is for sure, when we were watching him as he was like outside the White House or something like that. I think he was like on his way to walk into a helicopter. But anyway, somebody mentioned the homeless staying like right outside the gate of the White House. Now that is something that's very true. Okay. I have friends that used to live in DC, and they would be like, yeah, we would drive down past the White House and you'd see a bunch of homeless like up against the fence of the White House. It's pretty wild, right? And which is very interesting. But nonetheless, somebody, as he was walking out of the White House going into the helicopter, somebody mentioned, yeah, there's some homeless guys right over there, blah, blah, blah. And Trump's like, oh, yeah, they're right over there? Okay, yeah, we'll look into it. So I feel like that was kind of the start of it all, that Trump doesn't like the idea of the homeless anywhere near the White House. But then this kid that goes by Big Balls gets attacked viciously. And I think this is where he was like, I've had enough. We're cleaning shop. We are cleaning it all out. We're getting rid of all of them, right? And now we're here at this press conference, patiently waiting for Trump to come out and say what he needs to doggone say about this and give us some updates. So let me see. Terry Lynn, he won't try to help the homeless. He will put them away. And that's exactly Terry Lynn on TikTok. That's exactly what he's doing, right? That's exactly what he's doing. He's pretty much saying, hey, let's get rid of them. But by moving them to somewhere else is not solving the problem. You're just moving the problem somewhere else. You realize that, right? You guys realize that, right? You go from one place to another. It's not helping the situation. It's just we're back at the same thing. We're back at square one, just in a different place. But then on top of it, it also depends on the conditions in which these particular homeless are staying in. If they're staying in like tented areas, caged up, like alligator Alcatraz, that could be very, very bad. They're starting to walk in, guys. Let's rock and roll. Press conference, it has commenced. And you got Bondi, Cash Patel, Except. Interesting. This is going to be interesting. Let's see what it do. Press conference is going down. Don't forget to hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Denny, thank you so much for being a member for the past 2 months. Thank you, Pascal, for your various coverage. Love from Canada. Thank you so much. How's the maple syrup? Is it good? Is it flowing beautifully today? Nice and thick. Anyway, I'm kidding, but thank you so much for being a member and supporting. Again, guys, before Trump walks in, please hit that like button down below. Please and thank you. Subscribe. Crush that subscribe button, please and thank you. And here he is. He's walking in right now. Let's rock.
Wow. I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. And you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening. They've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Yeah, just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes through our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, you know, when you say take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is, okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. DC, 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that.
Yeah, he said Brasilia.
Is that where you want to live?
Soak that in.
The reporters of the world. Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that.
Pam is looking into that stuff?
The city, I guess. We don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago, was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York.
What did I say? What did I say?
And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone.
What did I say?
We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over
What did
this.
I say?
And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with
phase one,
DC,
y'all.
And we're going to clean it up real quick.
Phase one.
Quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the Doge staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House. We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife.
Phase one,
As
everybody.
she was walking to the car.
Phase
A Democrat
one.
congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that, the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against law. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against
talking to TikTok
law enforcement last night.
Giving them
and
the update.
They're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and told them whatever
That's
happens,
unbelievable.
they love to spit in the face of the police as the police are standing up there.
Phase one, y'all.
In uniform, they're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard.
Oh, boy.
It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them.
Phase one.
Police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any such. So and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want.
Oh,
this dire
boy.
public safety crisis stems
We're going to
directly
talk about that in
from
a second, guys.
the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central, no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime, totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things. And we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. They're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So, Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, we will. I'll get it passed. We'll get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get.
This is a very big deal, y'all. This is
probably
insane.
Won't get one Democrat vote because they have no idea what they're doing. That's why they want men playing in women's sports. That's why they want transgender for everybody. Everybody transgender.
It's the Republicans against
walloped
everybody
in an
else.
election in a landslide, and they haven't changed one thing. I saw the other day the certain gentleman who was very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard anybody nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue even comes from. Never seen anything like it. But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it, too. We have to. Because it's sanctuary for criminals. Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets in 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. That's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside and standing behind me. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number relatively compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. You know, we have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police. 3,500. I thought they were going to say we only have 30 policemen.
This is
or
insane.
women. He said we have 3,500. We need more.
Insane.
You don't need more. That's so many. I never heard. That's like an army. How could you need more than 3,000? It just happened 2 minutes ago. Sir, they've requested more police. Oh, what do they have? About 3,500. I said, 3,500? This is not a big area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations, and you need the right people to implement them. And we have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the border. Biden said there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the Border Patrol agents who are great. ICE is great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar. And everybody said it was impossible to fix. I fixed it in 3 months. No, really. I fixed it the first week, but really fixed it over the last couple of months. And I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, 0 illegals entering our country in the last 90 days. Pretty amazing. It's time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to just take years, because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job. And that we will deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. But I'm very competent. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police, and they're rough police. They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security. They got some police, but they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime. We're not going to have crime either. They made dozens of arrests, and that's what starts to happen. Again, cashless bail. Watch what we do with that. Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designers said, well, we need a quarter of an inch more turn for safety
And
reasons.
put gold
No,
in the
we're gonna do
ballroom
it right.
of the
We're gonna
White
get
House.
it done quickly.
Okay.
So today we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of
Where are
the
the files,
Metropolitan Police Department as of this
I hope
moment.
I hope
And
somebody
I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and
about the Epstein
to the
files.
mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of
Just
the
one
top in
person.
the country. He better be Terry. If you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast.
Man,
Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just
This is
got him.
knuck and
Most
fuss,
highly
y'all.
recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police. And those people are the ones that want to help you.
because of woke.
This city
Okay.
will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street.
FBI
have
agents
A lot
out
of
in the streets.
essentially military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed.
Wow.
By the way, we're going to have National Guard, but Pete Hegseth will tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, "Oh, that's so terrible." He's going to bring in it's been used many times over the years. I don't think we'll need it. I think we've got so many great people, including the people that are in the police department with proper leadership. They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally.
This is
They shouldn't have
crazy.
been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out.
This
It
is
won't be here
crazy.
long. But some of these people, a lot of them are homegrown criminals. And these are bad people. These are rough people.
Not illegals.
And this is just a list of some
homegrown.
of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the DC streets this weekend. They were rough and tough. But we're rougher and tougher. Look at these people
Criminals. You gonna name names?
You know, they're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never be an asset to society. I don't care.
Wow.
I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed. I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to come up and say a couple of words because
Wow,
he's in charge, as you
insane,
know.
yo.
He's interior,
This
but
is
he's in charge
insane.
of the U.S. Park Police. And I've heard so many great things about the Park Police. They're proud of it. They've been there for a long time.
Y'all?
Their families oftentimes grow into the
Y'all?
roles. They love the country. They love this area. So, Doug, could you say a few words, please?
This is insane.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
President. On behalf of the U.S. Park Police, this is
We
the
got
oldest federal police force in the nation. They were formed in 1791 by none other than President George Washington. They've got the awesome responsibility of protecting our nation's most sacred monuments. The National Mall, Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Statue of Liberty, and out west, the Presidio and the Golden Gate area. These folks have tens of millions of visitors a year, the kind of people that President Trump's talking about that come from around the country and around the world to see our sacred and learn about our history and our sacred monuments. They've been doing a fantastic job, but they are so pleased, the rank and file, that President Trump is now allowing them to enforce the law. As those of you that live in the city may know, that the circles and the triangle parks that are spread throughout DC are actually federal park property. So the U.S. Park Police also have responsibility for that. These became littered with homeless camps under the Biden administration. All of you saw that. Since President Trump's executive order on March 27th, making DC safe and beautiful again, the U.S. Park Police have removed over 70 homeless camps. And President Trump also talked about beautification. They're stopping and enforcing the laws against graffiti on our monuments. They've removed over 80 specific attacks against our history with graffiti on our monuments. So they continue to do a great job, whether it's in their vehicles, on foot, or on the mounted police that you see around the National Mall. And President Trump, they thank you. The rank and file is so happy to be enforcing the law again. Thank you for your leadership. And they're excited about the announcement you're making today.
Thank you. Very good. Great job you're doing. Thank you very much. Pete, could you say something about the military, if you would?
Well, Mr. President, it's an honor to be here. And at your direction this morning, we've mobilized the DC National Guard. It'll be operationalized by the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll, through the DC Guard. You will see them flowing into the streets of Washington in the coming week. At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD. As the president noted, at the border, we've got 10,000 troops down there who've been operating in defense cooperation areas, defense zones, where there's zero illegal crossings because of troops on strikers scanning the border. We've been protecting other people's borders for 20 years. It's about time we protect our own. And we're working with ICE and CBP. In Los Angeles, we did the same thing, working with the California National Guard, working with ICE officers. ICE officers deserve to do their job and not be attacked. We will work alongside all DC police and federal law enforcement to ensure this city is safe, this city is beautiful. And as I always say about President Trump to the troops, he has their back. And my message to the National Guard and federal law enforcement in Washington is, we have your back as well. Be tough, be strong. We're right behind you. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm going to ask Pam, because she's now, as you heard me say, she's really in charge of a lot of what we're talking about. She's done an incredible job. People are going to start to see the fruits of her labor. And Pam, maybe you could say a few words about what we're talking about here.
Sure, President. Let me be crystal clear. Crime in DC is ending and ending today. We are going to use every power we have to fight criminals here. President, thank you for caring about our capital. Families come here every summer. Our museums are free. We have the National Zoo. We have the National Gallery. DC should be a place where everyone can come and feel safe. Behind me and to my side, we have some of the best career law enforcement and prosecutors in the country who are ready to take this on. As the president said, Terry Cole is going to be supervising the Metro Police Department. Gaddy Serralta, our U.S. Marshal, is going to be supervising command and control, the entire operation. Our Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and I will be working with them closely, along with our great FBI Director, Kash Patel. Kash is going to talk to you in a minute about what we did in Virginia recently with Governor Youngkin. Many of you covered that, and it was tremendously successful. Not only that, our secret weapon here in DC is U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, one of the toughest prosecutors and a former judge. And she is going to be talking about juvenile crime, how it's out of control here, and what she's going to do to fight back. No more crime rampant in our beautiful capital. No more teenage girls beating a disabled man to death. No more of that. No more drive-bys. We're going to do everything we can. And working with the ATF Director Driscoll and Commander of the Army, we're going to all work together. That's what we all do in this room. We work together. We fight. Do not underestimate one person in this room. We're going to make DC beautiful. We're going to make DC safe again. One other thing, just at the wharf a few days ago, the area of the wharf, Terry Cole reached out to me, not even nightfall, on the weekend, where so many families and tourists go. A guy's overdosing from fentanyl on a park bench in the middle of families around. They administered Narcan and saved his life. No more of that. The President of the United States is going to clean up DC, and we're going to be there to help him, and we're going to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Cash, talk about Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia, we had a big success.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for your leadership, Deputy Attorney General, and the rest of our interagency partners. Mr. President,
This is crazy.
The following is what happens when you let good cops be cops. And I just want to highlight that before I get into Northern Virginia. This year alone, under President Trump's administration, we've had over 4,000 child victims identified and found. That's a 33% increase from the same time period last year. 33% increase. We've had a seizure of 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl up to this date. That is a 25% increase since the same time period last year. And just to put it in perspective, 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl is enough to kill 115 million Americans. 115 million Americans. Cops are getting after it. The FBI has arrested 19,000 people this year alone. Thanks to President Trump's administrations, that's double than where we were this time last year. And we have also arrested 1,600 people who have committed violent acts against children. 270 of them are human traffickers of children. Mr. President, this is what happens when you have great leadership at the Attorney General with Pam Bondi. Your administration's priority of protecting the homeland and protecting American citizens and protecting our children, and the murder rates are plummeting. We are now able to report that the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern recorded U.S. history, thanks to this team behind me and President Trump's priorities. And how do we do it? And what are we going to bring to D.C.? What we did in Northern Virginia, thanks to Terry Cole and Governor Youngkin and the team, we stood up a task force out in my Northern Virginia field office, and we said, let's let good cops be cops. Let's get them the intelligence and what they need, and let's get the red tape out of their way, and let's get DOJ partnered up with us to bring great prosecutions. And that's exactly what we did. In 1 month, we arrested 545 violent felons, 545 in the state of Virginia, thanks to Governor Youngkin's partnership. And that simplicity in law enforcement is what's coming to Washington, D.C. When you let good cops be cops, when you give them the intel they need, when you work with our Homeland Security Task Force, when you work with Terry and Gaddy and I go way back to Miami, these guys are great leaders of the respective departments and law enforcement capacities. And when you have the DOJ and President Trump driving behind this mission, we are going to clean up Washington, D.C., and we're going to do it the right way, the lawful way, and we're going to make sure Washington, D.C. is safe again. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cash. So the process begins right now. It actually started over the weekend. We confronted a lot of very bad people, but it's going to be something that will be pretty amazing to you as you watch it. And I think most of you say it's a beautiful thing to do it right. We're going to be removing homeless encampments from all over our parks, our beautiful, beautiful parks, which now a lot of people can't walk on. They're very dirty, got a lot of problems. But we've already started that. We're moving the encampments away, trying to take care of people. Some of those people, we don't know how they even got there. Some of those people are from different countries, different parts of the world. Nobody knows who they are. They have no idea, but they're there. Getting rid of the people from underpasses and public spaces from all over the city. There are many places that they can go, and we're going to help them as much as you can help. But they'll not be allowed to turn our capital into a wasteland for the world to see. The Metropolitan Police Department and the federal authorities will be supported in the effort, a really big effort, the 800 DC National Guardsmen that we'll put on, and much more if necessary, much more.
I'm looking forward to the question.
Remember I said, I offered 10,000 once. Remember I said to a certain person, person who I thought always was highly overrated, not very competent. But I said, if you need them, we'll give you 10,000 of the military or the National Guard. They turned me down. But if necessary, we're going to move service members directly to joining the Guardsmen, and that'll take place very rapidly, and that'll be done in conjunction with Pam and with Pete and everybody else.
This is
Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful cities anywhere in the world, and we're going to make it that. We're going to make it safe. We're going to make it smart. We're going to make it beautiful, so beautiful. Some of the buildings, we're going to add to it. You see what we've done at the White House. White House is a whole different building. I do that in my part-time because it's a natural instinct as a real estate person. I was very good at that, and I was very good at fixing things up. I like fixing things up. You see what's happening. The marble floors are being reinstalled, renovated, fixed. The whole place is becoming very beautiful. We're going to be adding a magnificent ballroom, most beautiful ballroom, I think, anywhere. We need it. I would have certainly loved to have had it today. I think we would have filled it up. A lot of you are standing outside, can't get in this room. I've never seen the room like this, which tells me that you want to talk about, I mean, this was a DC news conference. It tells me that you want to talk about crime in DC and beautification of DC, but I'm going to put that. That's easy.
Find out what's going on with Epstein files.
And I think, frankly, fixing the crime with the pros, fixing the crime is easy too. A person who I've known for a long time, and she's been incredible. She was a fantastic, one of the best ever district attorneys in New York. She was in Westchester, and she became a judge, very successful judge. And then she went into showbiz because she was such a good DA and such a good judge, tough judge, but fair, always fair. Nobody ever complained about that, but she was tough. And because of that and her reputation, she went into showbiz. So a lot of people don't, they think of Janine as showbiz. Actually, showbiz was not her thing. It was, and she did great. She was on, along with a couple of other of my friends, on the #1 show. And she did great, but this is what she loves doing. This is really her baby. What she's going to do is going to be incredible. And I'd like to speak for just a few seconds on what she has in mind, what she wants to do. We're going to be appointing some judges. We have some open spots, and we're going to take people because the judges are letting killers out. They just say, go, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So we're putting some Pam recommended, Todd recommended, some judges that are great. Janine recommended. Janine's given me 3 great candidates already. We have about 10 open spots, and we could probably create some more. We need them. Janine, would you say a few words, please?
Okay, we got.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, and to all my partners here. We all want the same thing. We all want a safe city. We want a safe capital. We want to be able to bring our families here. We want to be able to come and enjoy the history that makes this place great. And unfortunately, we are not in that position right now. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for taking the step that we need right now to make criminals understand that they are not going to get away with it anymore. And I'm not going to stand here and go over and over the cases. But what I can tell you is this. I see too much violent crime being committed by young punks who think that they can get together in gangs and crews and beat the hell out of you or anyone else. They don't care where they are. They can be in DuPont Circle, but they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college.
Wow.
We need to go after the DC Council and their absurd laws. We need to get rid of this concept of, no cash bail. We need to recognize that the people who matter are the law-abiding citizens, and it starts today. But it's not going to end today because the president is going to do everything we need to do to make sure that these emboldened criminals understand we see you, we're watching you, and we're going to change the law to catch you. And my final note is this. These kids understand that the jurisdiction is through the state attorney general, Brian Schwab. I did a poster of the young man from Doge who was beaten bloody with a severe concussion, a broken nose. And then I did a poster of what happens to those kids because I can't arrest them. I can't prosecute them. They go to family court and they get to do yoga and arts and crafts. Enough. It changes today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Shoot. The kids are screwed.
If I could, I just
I'll explain in a minute, guys.
Executive orders. I'd like to have Will please come up and
still more. Oh my gosh.
We'll let the people know what we signed. Do you want to put them?
So they're like, we're not playing anymore. We've had
a short
enough.
while ago in the Oval Office, President Trump signed 2 crucial executive actions to deal with the emergency crime conditions we currently face in the District of Columbia. The first of these was an executive order, as President Trump said before, invoking his powers under Section 40 of the Home Rule Act to take federal control of the DC Metropolitan Police Department. Along with that executive order, President Trump signed the statutorily required notification letters to Mayor Bowser and to the relevant House and Senate committee leaders. The second major executive action that President Trump signed was a presidential memorandum directing the Secretary of Defense to utilize the National Guard to address the conditions we see on our streets here in DC. It also authorized the Secretary of Defense to work with state governors to utilize their National Guard units if necessary as well. These are bold, decisive steps intended to combat the out-of-control crime conditions we've seen on DC's streets for far too long. And I, for one, am deeply proud to be part of an administration that's finally coming to terms with these issues, sir.
Thank you very much.
Oh, boy. Okay, questions?
So,
Are we going to get to questions?
just to conclude, Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, most beautiful places anywhere in the world. It was years ago. We had one problem that was a pretty big problem. The radical left got out of control and they started trying to rip down statues. And I said, let's go pass a law real fast. We're going to do it real fast. But we were blocked by the Democrats who do not want safety. Nobody gets it. I don't get it. They don't get it because they can't get votes. I don't know how they can win an election with this, but they don't want safety. And I found an old statute, very old, early 1900s, that said if you so much as touch or even think about destroying a statue or a monument in Washington, D.C., you go to jail for 10 years with no probation, no anything. In other words, slightly different than we have today. Today we have cashless bail. There you get jailed 10 years. No curtailed sentence, 10 years.
It's crazy.
And we took it out. Nobody used it. It was never used because, it's harsh. And you remember they started to rip down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, that's a tough one to rip down. He was pretty good, Pam. I think he was pretty good. When the ropes started going around Abraham Lincoln to pull him down, Andrew Jackson, others, and they were heading to the Jefferson Memorial, Thomas Jefferson. They're going to do a big number there. I said, it's time. And I signed that statute immediately. We had it updated. We made it use the same language, all passed by Congress. And I announced it's 10 years in jail, no probation, no anything, 10 years, no curtail sentence if you touch, so much as touch a statue in Washington, D.C. And it was an amazing sight, beautiful sight. Everybody just left. The ropes were hanging around Andrew Jackson, and there were two ropes around Abraham Lincoln. They left the rope, but everybody just left. And that was the last problem we ever had. That was the last problem that we ever had with the statues. They were going wild. And somebody came to me and said, sir, in 1910, I don't want to give you an exact because you'll say, Donald Trump gave us wrong dates around like early on.
This is getting interesting,
I'm slightly off. They make you sound a little bad. So I won't put myself in that position. I won't put you in that position because I think everybody agrees with what we're doing today. But when I signed that thing, it was like a miracle. Everybody left. They were gone. They were starting to march down. They started the march toward Thomas Jefferson. And I figured he was always going to be safe. But they found something with him, and they found something with Abraham Lincoln. And even in the name George Washington in California, numerous places changed the name of George Washington High School and various other places. They took George Washington's name. This was a sick, woke culture that I think we've largely ended. And a lot of those people that were woke are now turning out to be the opposite. I won't go so far as to say MAGA. It's a very special category. But they've gotten out of that. But we have people that love this country and they love this really beautiful capital. It is. I flew over it the other day and I said, what a beautiful place. But if there's crime all over the streets, when you get there, it doesn't look so beautiful, but we're going to make it beautiful again. We're going to fix it with crime. And we're going to also, as we're doing that, we're going to start doing things that we know how to do, that I know how to do better than anybody, I guess, because of my experience from previous life. But not only are we stopping the crime, we're going to clean up the trash and the graffiti and the grime and the dirt and the broken marble panels.
Is this going to radicalize a
All
lot
of
of
the
people?
things they've done to hurt this
Do
city.
you think there's going to be demonstrations
And
out
we're
here,
gonna restore
y'all?
the city back to the gleaming capital that everybody wants
Like,
it to be.
as
It's
soon
gonna
as
be
today?
something very special. All of these people are
Yeah, he's rambling for
really
sure.
tough. Could I shake your hand, Gaddy, please? You're going to be so important here. You're going to be that guy. I hope I don't have to fire him in 2 weeks because he's too soft. I don't think he's too soft. If I do, I will, though. Is it okay if you're soft, weak, and pathetic like so many people? I will fire you so fast. You're not going to have to worry about that. No, I think you're going to do a fantastic job. And everybody in this room, they may not express it, but they all want that to happen. You know, they want to be safe.
vote for
and their
me.
families
Why
too. So it's an honor
not, Holly?
to have such a large
not?
group. I've done this for years now. Hard to believe. I've never seen this room so packed. In fact,
Everyone's
I'm sure it's a
concerned about
violation
this.
of
That's why
every
they broke
fire
it.
code. But we'll let you stay anyway. You're taking a chance. And with that, we'll say maybe if you could. Oh, wow. We could be here all day long. If we could keep the first questions perhaps to this subject, and then we'll go on to a few others. Please.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Can you talk about how personal of an issue this is? You talked about flying over the Washington Monument and seeing the pride of what DC is. And do you believe that the status of the city, the cleanliness, the way that crime is low, is a direct reflection on how the country is run?
Yeah, I do. I think the Capitol, look, everyone comes here. They're all coming. All the leaders, they're all wanting to come. And I say it, I've said it again, but I'm really just quoting other leaders from NATO, from the Middle East, King of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. I was over there. We brought back $5.1 trillion of investment into our country. But a month and a half ago, I was at NATO. We had a great thing. They agreed to put up 5% instead of 2%. 2% they didn't pay, 5% is already paid. We had a great meeting, and they all said the same thing. They said our country was dead. They thought our country was gone. 1 year ago, they said your country was dead. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country in the world right now.
Hottest country.
The tariffs have helped. It's given us not only the money, it's billions, trillions of dollars of money, but it gives us great power over enemies. We solved 5 wars.
Thank you.
With Pakistan and India, we just solved one. Azerbaijan and, as you know, and Armenia. A war was raging for 37 years. And the 2 leaders got up and they said, we never thought this would be solved. Russia tried to solve it. They all tried to solve it. It was a very tough situation, but we got it done. And I said to the 2 men, I said, are you guys friends? And they had a hard time. They've been killing each other for 37 years, right? One was there 5 years. One was there for 22 years. He said, my whole life I've been fighting this war. And you got it solved. But we did many of those. We did in the Congo and Rwanda. That's been going on for 30 years. 8 to 9 million people killed that they know of, but it was raging, and we got that solved. We got a lot of them done. It's a great honor. But you want to have, when they come, the leaders come to our country to sign documents that the war is over or whatever, or for other reasons. They come for trade. And you want them to come through so beautifully. You ride down those roads, everything should be perfect. You shouldn't have medians falling down into the roadway. Median, the metal things that are always, somebody had a great lobbyist, because I've never seen them look good.
I'm coming back to that.
I've been looking at those things with
166
right?
or goddess. I'm coming back to this
bad.
Super chat.
But here they're
yes,
really bad.
heard
And
nothing.
We're going to either put new or fix it, and it's not expensive. It's not really.
Where are you putting the
expensive, but
homeless?
We're going to fix our roads a
Right.
little bit. We're going to clean up our sidewalks. You have countries where every Saturday the people go out
What about
and they
rehab
wash
for
their
addicts?
sidewalks in
You're
front of their
absolutely
stores
right.
or their houses.
100%.
They scrub their sidewalks. So we aren't quite at that level yet. I don't think, Gaddy, we're not quite there yet, but maybe we will. They go out and they scrub. I think it's so beautiful to hear that and to see those stories. But
Use that
we're
$200
gonna
million
make
that
it
you're going to be
clean.
doing.
But just to finish with your question, it's a very, very strong reflection of
We got a lot to talk
our
about,
country.
guys.
And when they see a bad city, you know, my father always used to tell me, I had a wonderful father, very smart. And he used to say, son, when you walk into a restaurant and you see a dirty front door, don't go in. Because if the front door is dirty, the kitchen's dirty also. Same thing with the Capitol. If our Capitol's dirty, our whole country is dirty, and they don't respect us. So it's a very good question.
Mr. President, I'm Brian. Sorry. Question for you on the specific issue. Do you expect more cities to follow DC's path if this goes through? So the idea is that Chicago, LA, San Francisco, would they expect similar action?
Here we go.
DC? And the other question, sir. There's reporting that the administration is going to reclassify marijuana. Would that send mixed messages that if marijuana is okay, some drugs are okay?
That
We're
must
trying
be.
to clean up crime. How do they go hand in hand?
I think that's
only
Aaron
looking at
Parnas.
that. That's early, but you know,
Shout out
somebody
to Aaron
reported
Parnas.
it, which is fine. We're looking at it. Some people like it, some people hate it. Some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because if it does bad for the children, it does bad for people that are older than children. But we're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next few weeks. And that determination hopefully will be the right one. It's a very complicated subject, the subject of marijuana. I've heard great things having to do with medical, and I've had bad things having to do with just about everything else. But medical and, for pain and various things, I've heard some pretty good things. But for other things, I've heard some pretty bad things. The other part of your question, I mean, we're just going to see what happens with it all. We're going to have a tremendous success in what we're doing. Other cities are hopefully watching this. They're all watching, just like everyone's watching here. They're all watching, and maybe they'll self clean up, and maybe they'll self do this and get rid of the cashless bail thing and all of the things that caused the problem. I mean, if you go back, this whole thing with cashless bail is a disaster. So many problems came that we never had before. So they're watching us today, and if they don't learn their lesson, if they haven't studied us properly, because we're going to be very successful. I have zero doubt about that. It's going to be. It's a question of will it be really fast, like the border. You know, everyone said, they used to say, Biden used to say, I need legislation. I didn't get any legislation. I called up our people, and we did a great job. Tom Homan was great.
No.
As you know, our secretary did a great job. They did
Mary
a great
Jane ain't going
job.
nowhere.
No games. They didn't play games.
It's a cash.
And we're going to have the
cash
same
crop
thing
now.
here. But then I'm going to look at New York in a little while. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's see. It's going to go pretty quickly. And if we need to, we're going to do the same thing in Chicago, which is a disaster. We have a mayor there who's totally incompetent. He's an incompetent man. And
hit that like button
we
down
have an
below,
incompetent
guys, please.
governor there. Pritzker's an incompetent.
Don't forget to
His
hit that
family threw him
subscribe
out of
button too, please and
the
thank you.
business, and he ran for governor. And now I understand he wants to be president.
Let's get to
But I
8.
noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe
800K.
he has a chance. You know, you never know
Forget to
what
subscribe,
happens.
okay? Subscribe,
But Pritzker's
subscribe,
a gross
subscribe.
incompetent guy, thrown out of the family business. But when I look at Chicago and I look at LA, if we didn't go to LA 3 months ago, LA would be burning like the part that didn't burn. If he would have allowed the water to come down, which I told him about in my first term, I said, you're going to have problems. Let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into LA. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it. We have it coming down. But hopefully LA is watching. That mayor also, the city's burning. They lost like 25,000 homes. I went there the day after the fire. You were there. And I saw people standing in front of a burned down home. It was, their homes were incinerated. They weren't like, even the steel was literally, it was all warped and literally disintegrated because of the winds and the flame and the whole thing, like a blowtorch. They were standing on this beautiful day, maybe a couple of days after. We gave it a little time because what they had suffered, almost 25,000 homes. And you see what's happening now. They didn't give their permits. I went to a town hall meeting. I said, we're going to get you the federal permits, which are much harder. Almost immediately, Lee Zeldin is a star. He did an incredible job. They have all their federal permits. They don't have their city permits. And the mayor said to me, we think we could have them in 2 years. I was walking down the street and I met with firemen and police. And I was saying hello to many people that were standing in front of their homes with yellow tape. You can't go in. You can't go onto the lot. And those people wanted to start rebuilding their homes then and there. And the mayor said, we should be able to get them the permits within 2 years. I said, that's a shame. 2 years. Are you kidding? I'm going to get them the federal permit like almost immediately, 2 years. And she roared back, well, maybe 1 year. The place was booing her out of the place. They don't have their permits to build their homes. And now they're talking about putting, this is among the most beautiful areas was in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there. Can you believe this? I love low-income housing. I made money with low-income housing. I built low-income housing. I know more about low-income housing and luxury housing. I know about everything real estate. They want to replace some of those homes with low-income housing. They haven't gotten their permits yet. We've gotten all the federal permits, which are much tougher to get. And it was done almost immediately through Lee Zeldin and Federal Environmental. And I watched the other day, those people are angry. And now, you know, they had tremendous, they loved that area. They loved the whole big area, different places, but they loved it. It was all luxury stuff and beautiful stuff. And some wasn't that luxury, but the level of love for that neighborhood, their neighborhoods was incredible.
He's still rambling.
And you know what? I watch people on television. They want to go. They want to leave. They've lost their spirit. They've lost their heart because the mayor's incompetent. And Gavin Newsom is incompetent. Got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent.
Oh, snap.
And you have Los Angeles is, you know, it's amazing. You know, I called, the first thing I did, I got the Olympics to go there. I was the one that got it. And by a rare thing that happened, I'll be the president. I was very upset because I got the Olympics there and I said, I won't be president when it comes, but bad things happened and illegal things happened, really illegal things happened. Now it turns out one good thing was I'm going to be the president for the Olympics for 2050, for 250, which is going to be fantastic, and also for the World Cup. So we have a lot of good things, and I hope 250 is going to be, the 250th anniversary is going to be the best. But when I looked at those people, and I saw last night on television that they still don't have their permits, it's a disgrace what's happened in Los Angeles.
So many questions, y'all.
Thank you. The China tariff deadline is tonight, but do you plan to extend that?
We'll see what happens. China's been, we've been dealing very nicely with China, as you probably have heard. They have tremendous tariffs that they're paying to the United States of America. And we'll see what happens. They've been dealing quite nicely. The relationship is very good with President Xi and myself.
President, you mentioned your upcoming meeting with President Putin.
Yeah.
Tell us what you hope to get out of that and whether you consider inviting President Zelensky to join.
So you have to understand, this is a war that should have never happened. This is a war that wouldn't have happened if I were president. Would have never happened. It was the apple of his eye. I got along very well with President Putin. But if you look, under President Bush, they took a lot of territory. Under President Obama, they took a lot of territory. Under Biden, they essentially took the whole thing. You know, it's just a question of time. Under Trump, you know what they took? Nothing. I was the one that said, you can't build your pipeline. That was half built. I came in, I stopped the pipeline. It's called Nord Stream 2. Nobody knows that, you know. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. You might have not even heard it. Biggest pipeline in the world. I stopped it. I was not a friend of Russia, but I got along well with Putin. It's always good to get along with other countries if possible, but that doesn't mean you roll over like Biden did. Biden came in and he immediately approved the pipeline. I couldn't believe it. Then they say Trump wasn't tough on Russia. I wasn't tough. I was the toughest. Putin said, if you're not tough, I would hate like hell to see you. I stopped the biggest economic development job, the biggest job that Russia had ever built. I stopped it. It was dead. And this low IQ president came in and he let them build a pipeline and supply oil and gas all over Europe, you know? So this is really a feel-out meeting a little bit. And President Putin invited me to get involved. He wants to get involved. I believe he wants to get it over with. Now, I've said that a few times. And I've been disappointed because I'd have like a great call with him, and then missiles would be lobbed into Kiev or some other place, and you'd have 60 people laying on a road dying. I said, that's cold. That's cold. But it's a
That's
violent
cold.
war. 5 to 7,000 people a week are dying.
That's cold, man.
And you know,
That's cold.
there's nobody from here. They're all Russian and Ukrainian people, and some people from the cities, much smaller number, but still, those missiles do damage and they kill a lot of people, but mostly soldiers. And they're young soldiers, although in the case of Ukraine, they're getting much older. They're drafting 60-year-olds now. It's a terrible thing to witness. And I think I have an obligation. Look, this is Joe Biden's war. This is not my war. I made a deal with NATO a month ago. You covered it very accurately, actually. We don't pay anything anymore. You know, we're not paying anything. They are buying things from us, and NATO is paying us. I got it raised from 2% of GDP to 5%. And they're paying us for everything that we send. We're not paying. But Biden approved $350 billion. Europe has spent $100 billion. The money that's been spent and the death is incredible. It's the worst thing that's happened, by far the worst that's happened since World War II. So I'm going in to speak to Vladimir Putin. And I'm going to be telling him, you got to end this war. You got to end it.
Yeah, drafting 60-year-olds is nasty work for
me.
sure.
This war would have never happened. You know, we had a discussion about it one time, and we never had that discussion again. Would have never happened. And when the election was rigged, and then Biden took office, which barely took office. The auto pen took office. Bad things started happening. Bad things, stupid things were said. And it ended up in a war. And, you know, and I don't believe this will happen anymore because I have that pretty well covered. This could end up in a third world war. This could have been a third world war. I don't think that's going to happen now. But I thought it was very respectful that the president of Russia is coming to our country as opposed to us going to his country or even a third party place. But I think we'll have constructive conversations. Then after that meeting, immediately, maybe as I'm flying out, maybe as I'm leaving the room, I'll be calling the European leaders who I get along with very well. And, you know, I have a great relationship, I think, with all of them. And I get along with Zelensky, but, you know, I disagree with what he's done. Very, very severely disagree. This is a war that should have never happened, wouldn't have happened. But I'll be speaking to Zelensky. The next meeting will be with Zelensky and Putin, or Zelensky and Putin and me. I'll be there if they need, but I want to have a meeting set up between the two leaders. I was a little bothered by the fact that Zelensky was saying, well, I have to get constitutional approval. I mean, he's got approval to go into war and kill everybody, but he needs approval to do a land swap because there'll be some land swapping going on. I know that through Russia and through conversations with everybody to the good, for the good of Ukraine. Good stuff, not bad stuff. Also, some bad stuff for both. So there's good and there's bad. But it's very complex because you have lines that are very uneven. And there'll be some swapping. There'll be some changes in land. And the word that they will use is, you know, they make changes. We're going to change the lines, the battle lines. Russia's occupied a big portion of Ukraine. They've occupied some very prime territory. We're going to try and get some of that territory back for Ukraine. But they've taken some very prime territory. They've taken largely ocean, you know, in real estate, we call it oceanfront property. That's always the most valuable property. If you're in a lake, a river, or an ocean, it's always the best property. Well, Ukraine, a lot of people don't know that Ukraine was largely 1,000 miles of ocean. That's gone. Other than one small area, Odessa, it's a small area. There's just a little bit of water left. So I'm going to go and see the parameters. Now, I may leave and say, good luck, and that'll be the end. I may say this is not going to be settled. I mean, there are those that believe that Putin wanted all of Ukraine. I happen to be one of them, by the way. I think if it weren't for me, he would not be even talking to anybody else right now. But I'm going to meet with him. We're going to see what the parameters are. I'm then going to call up President Zelensky and the European leaders right after the meeting, yeah. And I'm going to tell them what kind of a deal. I'm not going to make a deal. It's not up to me to make a deal. I think a deal should be made for both. I think Russia has to get back into building their country. It's a massive country. I think they have 11 time zones, if you can believe it. It's a massive, it's by far, from the standpoint of land, it's by far the largest. They have tremendous potential in Russia to do well. They're not doing well. Their economy is not doing well right now because it's been very well disturbed by this. It doesn't help when the president of the United States tells their largest or second largest oil buyer that we're putting a 50% tariff on you if you buy oil from Russia. That was a big blow. And then they say, gee, he wasn't so tough. Nobody else would have done that. And I haven't stopped there. I mean, look, I was all set to do things far bigger than that, but I got a call that they'd like to meet, and I'm going to see what they want to meet about. I'd like to see a ceasefire. I'd like to see the best deal that could be made for both parties. You know, it takes two to tango, right? So ultimately, I'll have a meeting next week. I had a great relationship with him, considering the fact that, I was not nice to him because of the pipeline. I ended the pipeline. I also gave the javelins. Do you ever hear of a javelin? Javelin is called a tank buster. They say that Obama gave them sheets and I gave them javelins. If it weren't for me, all those tanks that were destroyed at the first days of the war because the tanks got stuck in the mud, some commander made a better. They would have been in Kiev in 4 hours going down the highway. But a Russian general made a brilliant decision to go through the farmland instead. And they just had torrential rains, and the rains were so bad, and it was mud, and those tanks got stuck in the mud. I don't know who that general is, but knowing Vladimir, he's probably not around any longer because all those tanks were stuck in the mud, and they went along with the javelins. I gave them the javelins. You know that, right? I gave them javelins. They gave them sheets.
Yeah.
But I'm going to meet with President Putin, and we're going to see what he has in mind. And if it's a fair deal, I'll reveal it to the European Union leaders and to the NATO leaders, and also to President Zelensky. I think out of respect, I'll call him first, and then I'll call them after. And I may say, lots of luck, keep fighting, or I may say we can make a deal. I will tell you this. I've seen a poll coming out of Ukraine. 88% of the people would like to see a deal made. And if you go back 3 years, everybody was gung-ho for war. Everybody's gung-ho for war until you have it. It's an amazing thing. I had it with a couple of countries where I couldn't get a deal done with one particular country. And I just couldn't. The guy's great. He's a friend of mine. Great. Good leader. Tough as hell. I couldn't get the deal done. And then he went into war for a short period of time. You know where I'm talking about. First term. And it was nasty. Guys being killed all over the place. And he went through 1 week of war, and I was able to get the deal done. He said, this is nasty. Yes, please.
Yeah, just to follow up on what you were saying there. First of all, Volodymyr Zelensky is not invited on Friday?
He wasn't a part of it. I would say he could go, but he's gone to a lot of meetings. He's been there for 3.5 years. Nothing happened.
And what is the definition?
I mean, do you want somebody that's been doing this for 3.5 years? What's the definition of a good deal? I'll tell you after I hear what the deal is, because there could be many definitions. You're talking about a very large and complex situation. Now, I tell you, the war that I just settled with Azerbaijan and with, as you know, and Armenia was almost as complex as this one, having to do with routes, trade.
Meeting on Friday with Vladimir Putin.
Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made.
How will you know that?
Because that's what I do. I make deals.
Please go ahead. Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to ask you two questions, one about China, one about Russia, if I could. On China, your administration agreed to send the most advanced or advanced NVIDIA and AMD chips.
No, obsolete. No.
Obsolete chip. Well, and then 15% of the profits.
You mean the 20s? No. This is an old chip that China already has. And I deal with Jensen, who's a great guy, and NVIDIA. The chip that we're talking about, the H20, it's an old chip. China already has it in a different form, different name, but they have it. or they have a combination of two will make up for it and even then some. Now, Jensen's a very brilliant guy, and Jensen also has a new chip, the Blackwell. Do you know what the Blackwell is? The Blackwell is super duper advanced. I wouldn't make a deal with that, although it's possible I'd make a deal, a somewhat enhanced in a negative way Blackwell. In other words, take 30% to 50% off of it. But that's the latest and the greatest in the world. Nobody has it. They won't have it for 5 years. But the H20 is obsolete. You know, it's one of those things, but it still has a market. So I said, listen, I want 20% if I'm going to approve this for you, for the country, for our country, for the U.S. I don't want it myself. You know, every time I say like 747, I want, yeah, for the Air Force. So I just wanted. So when I say I want 20, I want for the country. I only care about the country. I don't care about myself. And he said, would you make it 15? So we negotiate a little deal. So he's selling a essentially old chip that Huawei has a similar chip, a chip that does the same thing. And I said, good, if I'm going to give it to you, because they have a, they have a stopper.
I'm talking about chips.
What we call a stopper. Not allowed to do it.
Technology,
really known as a
guys.
restrictive covenant. And I said, if I'm going to do that, I want you to pay us as a country something, because I'm giving you a release. I released them only from the H20. Now, on the Blackwell, I think he's coming to see me again about that. But that will be a unenhanced version of the big one. Like, I don't know if you know it, we will sometimes sell fighter jets to a country, and we'll give them 20% less than we have. You know what I mean, right? That's the same.
So on Russia, do you see a time, Mr. President, when there could be normal trade between the U.S. and Russia? Should your meeting go well, should there be peace?
I do, yeah. Russia has a very valuable piece of land. If Vladimir Putin would go toward business instead of toward war, it's a warring nation. That's what they do. They fight a lot of wars. A friend of mine said Russia's tough because they just keep on fighting. They beat Hitler, so did we. And they beat Napoleon. They've been doing this for a long time. I asked a question to a very, very smart man that some people like and some people don't like. Viktor Orban, right? From Hungary, the head of Hungary. And he's in that same area and knows the two countries very well. I said, this was before Biden didn't do anything to get us out of it. He could have gotten us out of that. It would have never happened. I said, so can Russia be beaten by Ukraine? He looked at me like, what a stupid question. He said, Russia's a massive country, and they win their country and they win their
This is totally out of
life
control.
through wars. They fight wars. That's what they do.
No
He
conversation
said,
about
China
the homeless,
beats you with trade.
which is the whole reason
Russia
why we're
beats
here
you
in the
with
first
war.
place. And
Very
criminals.
interesting statement. China's not beating us with trade. Not when I'm in charge.
Zero
But
conversation.
They were beating Biden with trade, but they never beat us with trade. Don't forget, China had to pay $400 billion worth of tariffs when I was last time. That was last time. And if we didn't have COVID, all of this stuff we would be loaded. We're finding hundreds of billions of dollars of cash is pouring into our country now because of tariffs. And all we're doing is we're doing what they do to us. It's so beautiful to see it. They found last month, as you saw, $25 billion of excess cash flow. They're saying, where did it come from? I said, I'll tell you where it came from. It came from a place called tariffs, and we're doing very well. We're really doing well. But I expect to have a meeting with Putin that I think it'll be good, but it might be bad. And I'm here for one reason, to get rid of a war that somebody else started. Should have never happened. And if I could end it, great. Complex war, a lot of bad blood, But Zelensky's been there for 3.5 years. So if you put him in a room, now I will say this, ultimately I'm going to put the two of them in a room. I'll be there or won't be there. And I think it'll get solved. Yeah, please do.
Mr. President.
Excuse me, I'm going to suggest, because do you have any other questions?
Yeah.
On DC, because
Yeah,
I
ask
don't want
questions.
them. I don't want them
Thank
to be.
you.
Wait.
Ask questions about the
These are
doggone
incredible people.
what they're
I
there
don't want
for in
them
the first
to be
place.
standing up here on
Dear
subjects.
God.
Does anybody have a question of them? And then you guys can leave. Okay, a question. Brian, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right.
And by the way, this is only on DC, and then they're going to leave because it's unfair to have them stand up here all day long.
I agree.
Brian.
I've got two questions for you. First, about DC.
Might be here for a while,
This
y'all.
is personal for me as well. Last year, I was robbed on the streets by one of these teenage thugs. Had a gun, got away with it.
Uh-oh.
Let's talk about the effort that between law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges, because it's a recycling belt. Like, these kids go, they don't fear the police. They know it. If you talk about how we've got to get these judges and put these kids behind bars,
Right.
Adult crimes deserve adult penalties. And my second question, I'll have you answer that, please.
You want me to answer?
Or whoever wants to.
Okay, it's real. Do you want me to answer it?
Okay.
Here's the problem. Assuming that they're 17 years, older than 17 years old, I can get the case. If they're under 18 years of age, I can only get the case if it's murder, rob one, rape, or even if they shoot a gun but don't kill you, I can't get it. So the law has to be changed. As the president said, cashless bail. That has to be changed. All right. Then, even assuming I get the case, I get jurisdiction, I get a conviction, the DC Council has given the judges the ability to give probation on shootings. And so then it's up to them. All of these things, the Youth Rehabilitation Incarceration Reduction Act, and now they want to seal records. So if we work hard, we get a conviction, they want to wipe it out. So that needs all to be changed.
Okay, Mr. Question.
Pam, would you answer that also?
Yeah, and just back to that topic. Let's be clear though. We're going to charge them and we're going to track every single thing they do throughout every step of the court process and report back to you and let all of you know what's happening to them, because the people who are prosecuting them, the judges who are trying them, they also need to be held accountable.
Mr. President, you also made a comment. This is the most people we've ever seen in this briefing.
I've never seen
ever, right?
I've never seen any. Where's Caroline? Where's my superstar? Caroline. Is Caroline in the back? Where's Caroline? Come here, Caroline.
Now he's pulling out Caroline. Caroline.
Is she doing a good job, by the way? Come here. Is this the largest crowd that you've ever seen?
This is definitely the most packed briefing, and I think all of you would agree. I think it's why we need to build a ballroom.
Mr. President, I have a better idea.
All right, Brian, go ahead.
My question is this.
Okay.
You're building the big, beautiful ballroom.
Yeah.
Could we build a big, beautiful briefing room?
Yes.
Technology,
Yeah.
more seats.
I don't want to do that. I don't want you to be comfortable. So no, I don't want to make life comfortable. So look. Let's just do this. Let's do this. It's going to be a big thing. We're going to Russia. That's going to be a big deal.
Jeez Louise.
What happens. I'll let you know what happens. You'll be the first to know. I'll be calling the European leaders. I'm going with totally. I mean, we have a lot of talks. They're great people. They're great leaders, actually, and they want to get back. Honestly, as one of them said, I've OD'd on trying to settle Ukraine. They've OD'd, meaning they've overdosed on the settlement of Ukraine. Not a nice expression, but boy, is it accurate. They're tired of it. They want to get back to spending money on their countries. You know, Biden gave them $350 billion. Europe gave $100 billion. It should be much more than that. Shouldn't have been that kind of, they should have had equalization, but they didn't. But you know what? Still a lot of money. They want to get back to building their own countries. They really want it resolved. My relationship with the European leaders, as you saw, is extremely good. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Wait. And we're going to try. I'll be in touch with them. I have 5 of them call me. You think it's easy? There are a lot of European leaders, but they rely on me, very much rely on me. If it wasn't for me,
Insane.
this thing would never get solved until the last person breathing is dead. Yeah, I did. I'm talking to him right now. So I'm talking to the European leaders. I'll be talking to President Zelensky. I'm going to get everybody's ideas. I go into that thing fully loaded right up there, and we're going to see what happens. Now, I think one of two things is going to happen. It's going to be a good meeting, and we'll go a step further. We'll get it done. I'd like to see a ceasefire very, very quickly. Very quick. I'd like to see it immediately, but I'd like to see it very quickly. And we're going to be dealing with the European leaders, and we're going to be dealing with President Zelensky, and hopefully we're going to have a great success. As far as this, what we did today, and I think you were here for DC more so than even Russia, because Russia will be, you know, we have a couple of days to go, but the Russia is going to be very interesting. But to me, what is very exciting, and we're going to take back our capital. We're going to make it beautiful again, but we're going to make it, more importantly, safe again. It's going to be so safe. It's going to be a model. And then we'll look at other cities also. But other cities are studying what we're doing. And you have some capable people in other cities. They can do it too. But we have a great group of professionals. We're going to have a safe, beautiful capital, and it's going to happen very quickly. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Wow. Wow.
Justice Department appeal the Epstein decision today, Mr. President? How long will the takeover of DC police last?
Wow.
See you guys tomorrow. We'll have another.
We'll see the National Guard on their streets.
All of them.
See, but that's the thing. That's such BS, y'all. That is such BS. That is such BS. Nah, man, that's BS. Nah, bruh. Nah, man. They didn't even see, but this is what's so frustrating about this, guys. This is what's frustrating the heck out of me right now, okay? Just rock with me for a minute, okay? Hear me out, because there's a lot that was being said, and then there was a lot of things that were not addressed. That is the biggest problem I have right now. I'm just going to put this on as playback, okay? I got a big problem with this. You might be like, why? Why, Pascal? Why you have a problem with this? Well, here's the thing. They just said we're about to deploy the National Guard. We're about to do all this stuff. We're going to make DC safe again, right? They kept saying that over and over again because that's their new slogan, right? Everything's a brand. Everything's a slogan. And that's exactly what they were putting out here, right? So, okay, fine. I get that. Put out that information. Let people know about it. Whether we agree with it or not, at least we now know what's going on. But then when we came into the actual questioning, none of these mother lovers even asked there was only like one person that asked a question about the deployment of federal troops in DC. Everything else was just completely ignored. We were talking about him and his meeting with Russia, with Putin, which I understand is an important question. It's an important topic for sure, but what the hell? You just said, by the way, we're taking over. We're going to save a whole lot of lives, and we're going to be cleaning up DC. We're going to make DC safe again, right? He said all that, but instead we're sitting here talking about Russia, when it's like that's not what the press conference was about. The press conference was about how he's going to be enacting the Home Rule Act, where now he can bring in federal troops into DC, and how he said he's planning on taking this and putting this out towards other cities. And he even said it with his own mouth, y'all. He said it with his own doggone mouth. He said, we're looking at these other blue cities because these cities are completely obliterated, right? And we might have to use the Home Rule Act on these blue cities. There was one question that was asked, which was, hey, what do you mean? How soon would you be using this Home Rule Act or deploying federal troops, federalizing these other cities, these blue cities? And he said, well, it just depends. Hopefully these cities are watching right now and they start whipping themselves into shape. They start cleaning up. They start getting the crimes, making less crimes, drop the crime rate in their respective cities. But this is a wake-up call for them. This is a warning sign for them. And if they don't do something about it soon, then we might be taking these federal troops, National Guard, etc., and bringing them over to these blue cities. He specifically talked about L.A., and I already know he wants to put that out in L.A. like right now. Why? Because he hates Gavin Newsom. They have such a hate towards each other. It is unbelievable, okay? They're like water and vinegar. They just don't mix, okay? They are not, oil and vinegar. They just don't mix. They're not getting along right now, and I don't think they ever will, all right? So now you know for a fact, first place he's going for is L.A. He just said it out loud. L.A. is on the top tip of his brain. That's what he's thinking about right now. So you know for a fact he's going for L.A. If it's successful here and it's not a complete cluster F, he's going to be moving those to blue cities. The first one's going to be L.A. Watch me. Okay? Hear me out. Watch what's going to happen if this is successful. And here's the other thing too. It's all a matter of perspective. In his mind, he's going to look at DC and go, everything's great. When in actuality, it could be absolutely terrible for the people who live in DC, etc. It could be absolutely terrible. But in his mind, he might be like, we're successful. It's safe again. So if he, in his mind, thinks that DC is safe, he's going to click and drag this over to other cities fast. Remember, he's already saying, the border has been, has never been more successful than ever before, right? He's saying all that stuff. Now, if it's factually correct, that's up for argument, I guess. That's up for discussion. But nonetheless, for a fact he's going to do this, and he's automatically in his mind thinking that this is going to be successful. So you already know that he's going to be moving this over to other people or other cities for sure. And he's going to start knocking down at the door to every single blue city that he thinks that he thinks is trash. And that's all going to be Chicago, LA, New York, those major cities. Look at Oregon. Let's see, Portland, Oregon. Okay. Like I said, there's a potential of this getting very, very bad. But here's the thing now. Now we got to see how this is going to happen, how this gets moving. Because you already know that the National Guard has already been deployed in DC already. They started last night. They were already rolling in. Those guys are out there. So for a fact, everybody and their mama is going to have their phones out. Everybody and their mama is going to be keeping an eye on this. There's going to be TikToks galore in DC over the next 48 hours or throughout this week, talking about the massive presence of the National Guard in the area. Here's another piece I want to show and point out. There's two other big pieces of information here that I think that, we need to keep an eye on. All right. He also said that it's going to be no more. Well, he said this in a tweet, and I'm paraphrasing for what he said in this press conference. But he also said it's no more Mr. Nice Guy. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Right? He said no more that. Okay. What is it? No more Mr. Keen. Something like that. Is it Keen? Somebody knows the song. You let me know. But he said no more Mr. Nice Guy. We done with that. Why? Because he said these kids that keep spitting in your face and keep throwing things at them and all that stuff, now it's gone. That stuff has been ripped off, baby. That's gone now. So they gonna kick these little kids' booties now. That's basically what he's saying. It's done now. It's done. No more of these kids thinking because they're too young or they're in a specific jurisdiction that they can get away with anything. Nope, no more of that. It's gone. That's why you had the little Janine lady. I don't know her last name, but she came up and she's like, yeah, and that's what we're going to do. I can't do anything because they too young. Now we're going to change these laws. so that these kids know that if they do something crazy, they get charged as an adult. Just point them out. Point them in my direction. I will go and I will kick them along. That's what she just said. Which, don't get me wrong. Let me be real, okay? Yes, if you are a kid and you're running around with a pew-pew and you're going bang, bang into somebody's chest, I do agree with that too. You should be charged. You should be charged for the weight of the crime that you did, right? The punishment should meet the crime. But when it comes to these kids acting a fool and they hit, say National Guard, now they're saying, he's like, now the National Guard can hit back harder than they ever have before. That's not good. You realize how bad that's going to be? When people are seeing that? When they're roughhousing? Now, I always say keep your hands to your damn self, and you shouldn't be getting aggressive to any man or woman that's in the National Guard or the military or even with the po-po, okay? Even the police. 5-0, you shouldn't be doing that. Let's keep it a bean, right? But now they're saying that, hey, if you hit them, they're allowed to hit back, and they're allowed to hit back hard. So again, this could be a remedy or a recipe for disaster, okay? This is big. Absolutely big. Here's the other thing too, because some of y'all were wondering what's this no cash bail. So let me pull this up. I'm gonna read this off camera really quick, but this is what it is. No cash bail is basically what it says, what it means, okay? The title is exactly what it means, which is no cash bail means that a court does not require a defendant to pay money to be released from jail before their trial. Instead, the court may consider other factors like the risk of the defendant not appearing for court or posing a danger to the community, and may impose other conditions for release, such as electronic monitoring or reporting to a supervision officer. This system aims to ensure fairness by not making release dependent on a person's financial resources. Now, so again, if you ain't got no money, you can still get out. If you don't have enough for that $10,000 bond or whatever the heck it is, you can find another way to get out without actually having to pay that 10% of that bail, right? So again, he's saying we're going to get rid of all that. There's going to be no more cash. There's going to be no more no cash bail. That's gone. Forget all that BS. It is gone, right? Like I said, this is a very interesting turn of events. He also mentioned, of course, the crime rates, the M rates are in DC are higher than most places, than some of the most violent places in the world. He came out with graphs and he's like, see, don't you see these graphs? See, these are really bad. The M rates are out of control. They're worse. They're higher than they've ever been before, and we're going to drop it all. We're going to drop that crime rate, and we're going to drop that M rate in DC down because it's worse than Bogota. That's what he basically said. He said it's worse than Bogota, okay? Which is insane. So again, when you hear all of this, what do you think? Okay? Because this is insane. This is shocking news. And yes, the news, I'm sure, is freaking the F out. In fact, let me see. I think some are freaking the F out, and I think some are not freaking the F out. But let me see. Let me see if there's any places that let's see Fox News. Because usually they're, it's very pro-Trump, right? It's very much a pro-Trump platform for the most part. But let's see if they say anything here. Okay. I don't know this guy's platform. I don't know this show. Okay, I'm just pulling up. This is on Fox News right now live. I'm just going to pull. Let's see. Let's see what he got to say. I don't know this Will Kane country. I don't know who Will Kane is. With all due respect, sorry if you watch it. It's all good. I just don't know him. All right. Well, let's take a listen to this really quick.
On Will Kane Country. We're going to air that interview this coming Friday. You're going to have to subscribe at Apple or on Spotify. Pretty heavy level of credibility to this. And
is he saying anything
unhappy
in here
with his mid curve, but I would have liked bottom 2% intellect.
He reminds me
over a week ago that we saw
DC has 41 murders per 100,000 individuals. Mexico City, 8. Which I traveled a lot to Peru. I used to spend from 2000. Said no. Where there's
Interesting.
more
Hold on.
police officers.
I'm not watching that. Let me find something else, because I want to see how people are reacting to this. And yes, everyone is very much like, and that's what's so sad about this. They didn't ask any questions like, what are you going to do with when you move the homeless out of DC? Where are they going exactly? Do you see how messed up it is that everyone's like, do you see how messed up people are, that people aren't even concerned in asking burning questions like, where are you putting the homeless? Okay, cool. That's okay. Even if you're like, okay, cool, that's fine. You're moving them. Cool. The next question should be, so where are you putting them? Where are you taking them? It's all, I'm just asking for a friend. Where are you taking them? Where are they going? And are they and are they gone for a long time or what? What's actually going on now? Can you just break that down for us? No one asked that question. No one did. Like the super chat here. Let me grab this too. Okay. Like I said I was going to come back to this. Goddess. Exactly. Thank you so much for the super chat. I knew it wouldn't be long. Oh, this is not the one, but I knew it wouldn't be long before we heard that it was Biden's fault. Yes, we always hear that story for sure. Okay, but this is the one. Did I miss something? Thank you again for the super chat. Did I miss something? I heard nothing about housing for the homeless or rehab for addicts. Exactly. Right? He talks about, oh, we're going to clean up these streets. People are, ODing on a Fenty, if you know what I'm talking about. The substance, the very bad one. You can touch it and be erased off this planet. Okay. In the arms of an angel, gone. Okay. So again, he says, we're going to get rid of all these things, but where are they going, though? You see what I'm saying? This is when I get concerned, because this is a recipe for the conspiracy theories now. Because then now they're going to be like, don't you remember that day? And, there's some weird, creepy, eerie music playing in the background. They're like, don't you remember that day when there was no, don't you remember when all the homeless were taken out of DC? Where did they go, though? And don't you know that there's a rock or a comet or an alien spaceship heading its way towards America? Could they be the sacrifice for the actual aliens that are coming to Earth in a couple of weeks? Whoa, mind blown, bro. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's like, what's going on? Where are they taking the criminals? Well, the homeless, then the criminals, which of course we already know they're going to prison or they're going to jail. But where are the homeless going? Where are they going? Like I said, it would be a little bit weird to be like, oh, wow, yeah, it is a lot cleaner out here, but where did they go? What, are they just driving up to Detroit and just dropping them off there? You know what I mean? They're like, handled it. Bye. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? I think that's a viable question, but nobody asked that ish. Nobody asked the question. Where are they going? You'll have a place to stay, but you won't be here. Right? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's basically what he's saying. Closing time, right? That's what he's doing. I know who I want to take. Well, actually, we don't even know where they're going to be going. So where are they going? I'm just saying. He said eviction notice. You guys are gone. Persona non grata. Persona non grata. This is crazy. Maybe he's taking them to Brasilia. Okay, I'm sorry. He said Brasilia. He said Brasilia. He said Brasilia. Moving on. You know, I'm sorry. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it, Nicole. Thank you. Okay. But he really did say, you know, crimes higher than Brasilia. You can't help but laugh at that. I'm sorry. Okay. This is serious. We're in some serious times, but you can't help but laugh at that. Brasilia, it happens. We have moments. We all have moments where we say something we didn't mean to say. You know what I mean? Like Brasilia. It happens. Okay. But still, Okay. Michelle, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Isn't it illegal for the president? Isn't it illegal for the president to deploy the military where they're not needed and add new sections to the White House and gold decor, especially on our tax dollars? That is the thing I wanted to say, because again, he's like, you know, that he's putting gold. He's like turning the ballroom into a gold ballroom. Like, and he's saying, oh no, this is all coming from my own pocket. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? So what's going to happen when you're not president anymore? You're going to have a crew just rip out all the gold from the ballroom? Or are you thinking that you're going to be staying there longer than just 4 years? Just asking questions. Okay? I'm just asking. Brasilia would like to know as well. Immortal, thank you so much for being a member for over 52 months. That's a long time. That's a spicy meatball. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Thank you so much. And he says, everyone knows the biggest crimes and criminals in Washington aren't on the streets. Oh, shots fired. Racky, thank you so much for the love. They are trying to change the subject from the Epstein files. Absolutely. That's why I keep on wondering, is this just one big move to one big cover up, one big distraction tactic? Because, you know, clearly Rosie O'Donnell and her losing her citizenship as an American wasn't enough, right? It wasn't enough to talk about possibly pardoning Diddy. It wasn't enough to maybe say arrest Kamala and Beyonce, right? It wasn't enough then. Now he's like, we're going to militarize. Well, we're going to bring in the federal troops. And if things still become haywire, we may deploy the military in DC. That's what he said. That's no joke. He literally said that with his own freaking mouth. That is a very big deal. Seriously. All right. And yes, I think they're working overtime trying to change the subject, but this is a big subject. What he's talking about right here is a big freaking deal. And if it's successful, he can click and drag this over to any other city he wants. He already said his eyes are set on the blue cities, because anybody who's red is good in his book. Good in his book. But anybody who's blue, they're the devil. They're the damn devil. Those damn demons. Demons. Right? That's basically what he's saying. Dems means demons. See what I did there? Right? That's what he's basically saying. It's East Side versus West Side. It's Blood versus Crips. Thank you again, Racky. The Epstein files must have some crazy information in them. Yeah, they clearly do. The press conference made the White House look worse. Well, you know, they've already been looking really bad from the Epstein stuff, and them fumbling all over themselves. The list exists, or the list doesn't exist. Or actually, in the beginning, the list does exist. You know, drain the swamp. Then it's it doesn't exist. Then he goes out there and says it does exist, but it's all the Dems. They murkied up the information. The files are all murky because of those damn Demis. Then it's, oh, they don't exist. Oh, but Maxwell says she has information. So we're going to go over there and talk to her about it and list off a name, a bunch of names on a list that we say doesn't exist, but it does. But we're going to talk to Ghislaine about it. Like I said, it just doesn't make any sense. Here's the key. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Hot mess summer. Thank you so much for the love. Going to be arrested and put in, I don't know what that is. Not funny. I mean, I feel like I think you're saying jail. Yeah. And then again, you said they're going to jail. Homeless. Funny. I think you're saying my bad. But yeah, again, this is all bad, right? This is all a recipe for it to be, oh man. Okay. So here's the question I have for all y'all out here that are watching on the multitude of different platforms here, which, by the way, I do appreciate you guys being here, being a part of the conversation, because whenever I talk about politics, it wavers. Some days you guys are interested in it. Some days you're not. This was a very big deal, though. This was a big situation. And this could, I'm not trying to fearmonger. Okay. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I'm just saying, this could be a huge change for the trajectory of our country and also in the way that the people look at the Trump administration. Because this is the most aggressive that we've seen from the Trump administration. Even more aggressive than what we saw in his first term. So again, and also the fact that he's doing this so soon. It's only been 6-7 months into his first year. This isn't like year 2. He's doing this stuff very, very fast, right? Hot mess summer. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Spell check sucks. I said not funny. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is not funny. This is very serious. So my question to you is this. How do you think the country, let me just say this. How do you think the court of public opinion is going to take this? Because realize that like I said before, this is phase 1. I already said it before the press conference. And some of y'all probably were like, man, Pascal crazy. He talking out his age. He crazy saying this is phase 1. No, he cleaning up these streets, man. Make America great again, America, right? But then he said it out loud. After this, if it's successful, we're going for other cities, mainly focused on those blue cities. Because the blue cities are the ones that are all messed up, not the red cities. The red cities are doing just fine. How do you think the streets are going to handle this? How do you think the court of public opinion is going to handle with this news? Do you think that they're just going to go, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. All right, come on through. Let's see phase 1. Let's see how I do. Or do you think that there's going to be demonstrations out in the streets by this afternoon? By tonight, by tomorrow? Here's my prediction. I want peace. I want love. I just want happiness. I want us to make our money, be happy with our lives, kick it, raise our kids if you have kids, see them graduate college, see them get married, see your grandkids and pass away. Okay? All with a smile on your face the entire time. I don't want to see any carnage. I don't want to see any bad problems. But I feel like we're getting back into that here very soon. Kind of like what we saw with BLM in his first term. I feel like now it's going to be this. And it all starts on how the National Guard handles DC. And let me tell you this too. The nerve is already exposed. Let me tell you that. The nerve is already on the surface. It's already been touched at, messed with. It's very irritable. Okay? It's very, very temperamental. The last thing we need to have happen, which I hope does not happen, and I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound crazy, but hear me out, all right? Hear me out. It takes one bad mistake from one officer, from one soldier, from one federal agent, from one National Guard soldier. One mistake from them that's caught on film and the world sees it, there's going to be demonstrations like a mother lover. And that's where it's all going to start. But if they do it in the most respectable, most kind, for lack of a better word, way, and they're abiding by the rules, and they're not being super aggressive, they're not doing anything crazy, but they're just trying to get people moved from one place to another, then we might be able to get through this. And maybe these other cities won't have to have National Guard deployed in those areas as well. It's just a thought. But you know how we do. You know how these streets react. And we're already angry as hell. We already know the streets are already angry as hell. Like I said, it takes one mistake. It takes one situation. It takes one brutal attack, one unaliving, etc., caught on film. Done by somebody who's wearing now army green, camo, and the streets are going to erupt. I don't want that to happen. I don't. I really, really don't. But I'm curious about if this move is the best move. Is this going to solve the problem? I'm hoping I'm wrong with that prediction. But like I said, if they show National Guard being rude, using excessive force on any homeless person, real talk. If they start going and they're deployed and they start going and raiding random people's homes, especially in communities that maybe didn't even know that they're about to get raided, and it's caught on film, and then it's redistributed, reused, and blah, 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 you know what I mean? Reshared all over the internet. Oh, my dear God. DC might go off like a powder keg. So that's the thing. If they're approaching this in the most inhumane ways possible, we're going to have some serious problems. I'm hoping that won't be the case. I'm hoping that how they're moving the homeless is done in a great way. But I'm telling you right now, we'll see over the rest of this week. We're going to see it all over TikTok. We're going to see it all over Instagrams and the YouTubes and all that stuff. People will be documenting their experience living in DC, watching these guys show up and do as Trump has ordered. And if it's any way, shape, or form inhumane, the world will instantly know as soon as that person hits upload. Now, that could be, it could be very non-reactive, or it might get a whole lot of people out there in those streets protesting, angry, and then we're back at square one all over again. It's like we're back at Trump's first term, Remember all the protests that happened in his first term. Remember all the protests that happened in his first term. I need to remind you guys of that. There was a lot. Okay. And I'm not pointing blame or anything of that sort. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying facts. There were a lot of protests in his first term. We already are seeing protests in his second term already, but it could get really bad. It could get really, really bad. So get prepared, guys. Like I said, I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm just trying to put some reality in y'all brains. Please be safe out there, especially y'all in DC for right now, because I have a feeling this is going to be moving over to other cities very soon. He's going to try it for like a couple weeks in DC. He's going to like what he sees, and he's going to try to get this over to other cities. Now, the question is, how are these other leaders, right, these elected officials from these other cities, for example, how are they going to handle this situation as well? Are they going to be cool with this? Are they going to fight back? Is there going to be pushback in regards to that? I don't know, right? I don't know. But hold on. Grateful, thank you so much for the love. He's going to call war on the homeless now. I mean, that's basically what he's doing right now. That's basically what he's doing. And like I said, where is this going? Where are all the homeless going? Hold on, let me just see if there's like I said, I'm waiting to see if there's any updates, anybody talking about it, because I wanted to see how people are reacting to this situation. Because like I said, this is not good. Well, okay, it's not good. Period. I don't agree with them just going, get up. We're moving you somewhere else. I'm not cool with that. Okay. But like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of other people that are going to express the same frustration that I'm saying right now too. But they're going to retaliate in more of a way that I don't want to see, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see. Let's see, DC. Let me just see. I just want to see if there's any updates. Anybody like you figure I figured that there would be at least a conversation from somebody talking about this, but so far there's not many people. I was like looking to see if like CNN had anything to say about this, or Fox News, but I haven't seen anything from Fox News. So let me see this here real quick.
We're standing by this morning for President Trump to speak at the White House. He's expected to address crime in the nation's capital once again as he is threatening a federal takeover.
Now, this is before his press conference, but like I said, there's not a whole lot of people talking about it yet, at least online, which is interesting to say the least. Wow. Let's see. Oh, wow. Dang. Okay. Well, apparently there was a big old explosion at a steel plant, apparently, as well. Hold on. Let's see. Grateful. Thank you so much I appreciate this. Homeless is not always a choice, and the elder homeless will not survive what he's doing. Yeah, good point. Their lives are difficult enough. This will destroy them. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the reason why I feel some type of way about these people getting uprooted from their natural, basically from their natural habitat, right? From their place that they call home, where they're comfortable at, right? So again, this is all bad. Hot Mess, thank you so much. The Supreme Court made it illegal to be homeless. That's crazy. Is that true? Is that true? That's crazy. That's crazy. Diggity damn. That's crazy. But yeah, y'all, this is, like I said, so much to process. Okay. So much to process, so much to, kind of consume when it comes to this situation. But of course, like I keep saying, I always leave that question up to you guys. What say you? What are your thoughts on this? Are you for this type of situation? Are you not for this? Do you think that there could have been a better option, a better way to do this than what he's doing right now? Is there a more humane way of getting this done? I think that's a thing that needs to be answered, right? So that's crazy. Subpoena just said, yes, they made it legal for towns to kick the homeless out. Okay, so you're half right, Pascal. Yeah, I was reading a super chat, but thank you. That's very interesting, though. They made it legal to do that ish. That's insane, y'all. That's absolutely insane. I'm hoping that my prediction or what I feel in my bones is wrong. I truly hope that I'm wrong. I want us all to live our lives and be happy. I want us to have a great, I want us to have opportunities to have better lives for ourselves, right? We don't need to see inhumane acts. We don't need to see more acts of violence. We don't need any of that. We've had enough drama and enough problems out here. And one thing I'm worried about is because there's a lot of people out here that are not military, that are not law enforcement, that are suited and booted as well. And I'm worried about there being a reaction from people who are, owners of their own pew-pews. That's the other thing I'm worried about too. Black Anonymous, thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. A lot of homeless are working poor who can't afford housing. That's true too. That's very, very true. Like I said, I feel like there's got to be a more humane way of getting things done and not this, right? So again, I am a little worried. I'm more than just a little worried. But like I said, it's only, we're only in what, hour 3 or 4 of this situation. I mean, they were deployed yesterday, right? But again, we got this whole week to see how they handle things. And hopefully, like I said, they handle things in the best way, in the most humane ways possible. But we'll see what's going on. But I'm telling you right now, like I've said before, this is just phase 1. And if phase 1 is successful, which it will be in his mind, let's be real, it will be successful in his mind. Okay. He's going to move this stuff over to the next thing. Okay. So, man, we'll see what happens here, guys. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Of course, if there's more information about this, I'll let you guys know. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on this. I know there's some other breaking news that's going on right now. I might be hopping back on very, very shortly to cover this other thing that's going on. Apparently, there was an explosion at a steel factory, so I might be hopping back on to talk about that shortly. But I got to take care of a few things and then come back in and cover that. So please do me a favor, okay? Please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms, okay? Like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, okay? Make sure you're following me. Please follow. Okay, subscribe. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Go to my third channel, Pascal Raw. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay, hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because right now it's pretty random and a lot of it's just breaking news. Hit that join button down below, become a member, and check out PascalMerch.com. All right, guys? We'll be talking here soon, though. Y'all stay safe out there. Seriously, for those y'all in the D.C. area, be safe out there. And if you have any new reports about what's going on, boots on the ground kind of information, please holler at your boy and let me know, because I would really love to know what's going on out there, guys. Okay. But anyway, hold on. That's a big note. Midas Touch and Legal AF are covering on YouTube. I'll take a look at it for sure. But thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. We'll be talking very, very soon. Okay. Y'all be safe out there. All y'all. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.